stop doing so many water changes. How do I start that? We like the YouTubers. Stop doing so many water changes.
No. No.
So I want to talk about a trend. So we were in here working, and you mentioned that you were doing weekly water changes.
Yes.
And I was like, why in the heck are you doing that? And I've noticed this. I've been on Facebook groups and just comments everywhere of people doing weekly water changes. I saw a person doing bi-weekly water changes, and this is the worst thing you could do. There's very few reasons why you should be doing weekly water changes.
He asked me why I was doing weekly water changes, and I said because when I came to YouTube to find out more about the hobby and how to have healthy fish tanks, and I was looking at videos based off of keyword searches and off of like fish room tours of master breeders. You know, I figured they know best. And a lot of people were saying they were doing, different variations as far as percentage, but on a weekly basis at least. So that's what I've tried to maintain and really struggled as I've grown tanks-wise.
And having lots of issues along the way.
Yes.
So I don't know, well, I do know why, because everyone says to do water changes. If you're having an issue, you do water changes. In my opinion, like I said, there's only two reasons you should be doing weekly water changes. That's if you're using dry fertilizer. It's called EI dosing. And the concept is every day you fertilize your tank, so there's tons of fertilizers in it, and then every week you do a 50% water change to remove them. And that will grow plants like crazy, but you need to do the weekly water changes. And the other reason is breeding. Now, I'm not talking about like sick fish. Like, you need to keep your water clean, but you shouldn't be doing it in your main tank.
Okay.
So this is why we have quarantine tanks. You take the fish out, you do daily water changes or every other day. Definitely after you medicate, right? After 2 days, you change the water. But in your main tank, you shouldn't be doing this. And the reason is I notice, at least online, is everybody's always chasing something.
Right.
Chasing a pH or a hardness or GH, KH, something. And you're never going to get your tank established if you're constantly doing water changes. There's a new term that's been thrown around lately called seasoned tank.
Yes.
Seasoned tank time. And a lot of the old timers are going to know all about this. The guys, I'm an old timer now. But we do maybe one water change a month. Corey from Aquarium Co-op did a store tour of a store in the Bay Area, I think San Francisco, where they've been open 20 years and have never done a water change. Just top off. Yeah, all they do is top them off.
For 20 years?
Yep, never done a water change. So I think there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to water changes, because you really need your tank to establish. Once it's seasoned, if you will, all your parameters will stay the same, and then you can do like a 25% water change, and it's not going to affect, the overall parameters of your tank.
Right.
But if you're in there every day, every other day, this is like a lot of new people, when they're trying to cycle their tank, they're constantly doing water changes. You need to stop. Like, you just need to be patient.
I definitely realized, because as I've grown with the number of tanks, I haven't been able to keep up on weekly water changes. And I found that even at 2 and 3 weeks with these established, well-planted tanks, they're doing just fine. So at the same time as Bob's telling me stop doing water changes, I've kind of haven't been able to keep up on them the same, but thankfully the plants are doing the job for me.
Yeah, and so and another thing I see is I came across I think it was in Tank Talk or one of the Facebook groups, where someone was not only doing bi-weekly water changes, but they were also dumping chemicals in every time.
Yeah.
So they were using like pH down twice a week, every water change, because something is wrong, and all that is wrong is that they're doing water changes.
Right.
That's it. If they would just stop. Now it takes time. It takes like 6 months at least for you to be like considered a seasoned tank, in my opinion.
Right.
But I'm telling you, once you get through that, like, you can go through anything in your fish tank, and it's just going to be so much more healthier. I mean, this is why people have problems with shrimp and more sensitive fish like autosinkless, where you're doing so many water changes, you never get biofilm in your aquarium at all, and all these
Right.
scavengers don't have anything to eat.
Yes, I definitely make sure that I, I don't gravel back every time. You know, I like that mulm on the bottom and on the plants to kind of sustain all of the life in there, from the snails, the shrimp, the fish. But I'm thankful to not have to do as many water changes as I was in the beginning. I thought I was doing my fish a favor, and I think it may have caused some problems that I've had along the way. And so now, kind of going the opposite direction, I'm going to hopefully see some different results.
Yeah, so we could back it up like a year, and you've constantly messaged me like, what's going on here? What's happening here? I can't figure this out. And like the whole time, I never asked like what your water change schedule was. And if I'd gone back a year and just said, stop doing water changes and just let everything settle. Like, you want everything to just settle. You want everything to just calm down, be the same for all, always be the same. And you're never going to get that with water changes, like constantly water changing. Yeah, and then there's other things to consider, like plants. You're not giving enough time for nitrates to build up.
Yeah.
If you're not, like, obviously if you're overstocked, you should be doing more than, once a month. Like if you have 50 fish in a 10-gallon tank, maybe you need to increase your water change schedule, but nothing is like finite. But the longer you do it, the better you'll get at gauging whether you need to do one or not. And if you get planted tanks with a bunch of small nanofish, you can pretty much never have to do a water change.
I do have a few tanks that I just already know. They've been going so long that I don't have to do them as frequently, and I've relied on that because that is the hard part. Like,
See, there should be like lights going off and bells going off. Like, I never do water changes on these because I don't have to, because they're just good. They're good to go. And obviously, the other important factor is test your water.
yes.
Like, you can go on YouTube and watch every single video on water changes, and they all start out with test your water.
Yes.
And it's crazy because I see people that kill $500-600 worth of fish and then complain that the test kit's $30.
Yes.
Like, come on, people.
I do. I have the API liquid kit, and I have the test strips, both the ammonia and the general water parameter tests. And some weeks that's just how it goes. I run through, check all the water, just see where everything's at, and if it's good, I allow it to go to the next
Again,
water change cycle.
Not to interrupt. I would like the veterans, or if I don't know what they call them, people that have been doing it for a while, that don't even have to use test kits. Now, you always should, but like once you get good at it and you start seeing something happen with your plants or something just seems off, like eventually you'll just know right away, oh, this is what's going on. But until you're at that point, I think a lot of people just overreact, and the first thing they go to is just water change. Something's happening, I'm going to do a 50% water change. A couple days later, it's not better. Oh, I better do another water change, and just stop,
Yes.
please.
So as time goes on, unfortunately, I've learned through some mistakes.
We all do.
Yeah.
I was there. I mean, when I got back into the hobby years and years ago, like, I mean, there was times where I was up till like 3 a.m. doing the bucket brigade, like, oh my God,
gosh.
something's going on, and
So
just
many
buckets
times.
back and forth. And where if I would have just left it alone, it would have been fine.
It's actually that really got me into the hobby, because I was having issues with my pond fish that I brought in because of a pump failure, and it was freezing over in the winter, and having to do the bucket brigade and trying to figure out what was going on with these fish. And the whole time it was just because I took them out of a cycled pond and into an uncycled stock tank. So I learned the hard way with that go around, but it got me into the hobby pretty hard.
I think.
Yeah.
So basically, water changes, cut back if you're doing a ton of them and having problems, and quarantine tanks.
Yes.
Very important. Go to Home Depot, buy a 7-gallon tub for like $6, and if you have a stand, just keep some filtration, put it under the stand, keep it going, whatever, so it's always cycled. And because I feel like a lot of people are doing massive amounts of water changes because they have sick fish. You should be removing those fish, and that way you're not breaking your cycle, causing more issues.
Yes, definitely.
But anyways, I'm going to cut it off here because we've been going for a while, and I don't know how to end this video, but I'll just say,
Don't do too many water changes, and like, subscribe. See you guys in the comments.
yep, let us know down below how many times you do water changes, and see if we can bait him into leaving some comments.
What's your secret to success?
Sure, that'll work too. All right, see ya.